Alright, fellow Slayers, it's time to take a look at the final episode of the day, which is Listening to Fear. The Summers women are at Sunnydale Memorial when Dr. Aaron Kriegel informs Joyce she'll have surgery in 2 days. The rest of the gang does their best to patrol, hoping to prevent Buffy from being unnecessarily bothered while she's dealing with her mom's health. Meanwhile, Riley allows another vampire to feed from him. The next day, Willow brings gifts to Joyce, Buffy, and Dawn in hopes of cheering them up. She brings Joyce a beer helmet, Dawn a book on history of spells, and Buffy a history book and a yo-yo. With the brain tumor, Joyce has unusual outbursts, and the girls decide to let Joyce rest. On the way out, a mental patient sees Dawn and insists that there is nothing inside her. Willow and Tara camp out on the roof of a building and watch the stars. Willow points out constellations to Tara, who points out several that she has made up. They cuddle and invent new star constellations when they see a large object streaking through the sky and crashing down in Sunnydale. They investigate the crash and decide to contact the other Scoobies. The crazy man that spoke to Dawn, who has been released to the hospital, is walking through the forest when a creature attacks him and kills him. At the hospital, the creature climbs along the ceiling undetected. Bob and Joyce talk to the doctor into letting a highly agitated Joyce go home until her operation. The gang finds the location of the crash in a hollowed-out shell. They spread the search and find the body of the dead mental patient. The gang leaves to do research, and Riley stays behind to investigate the scene. He combs ground for military reinforcements and advises soldiers how to deal with the situation when they arrive. They decide to track the creature by trace radiation. At the hospital, a mental patient is attacked by the demon. Buffy's mom continues to act strangely and say things she doesn't mean to say. Dawn is hurt when Joyce calls her a thing, but Buffy comforts her and tells her to ignore the things that people say when they are crazy. She tries to explain that when people are crazy, they think that nothing except themselves are real. Through research, the gang finds that the creature is a Queller demon and that is periodically summoned to rid the world of plagues of crazy people. At the Summers' home, Buffy and Dawn put their mother, who is once a Clarity continues to deteriorate, to bed. Dawn listens from rooms Joyce babbles loudly. At first, she appears to be talking to the ceiling. However, it is soon revealed that she's talking to the Queller demon, which is watching her from the ceiling. Dawn tries to ignore the babble, and Buffy, who is downstairs washing dishes, turns on loud music and begins to sob. In Joyce's room, the demon falls from the ceiling and spits a thick layer of slime onto Joyce's face. Dawn hears the commotion and runs to check on her mother. When she sees the demon attacking her mother, she comes to the rescue, knocking her onto the floor with a coat rack. It flees through the room, and Dawn slams all the doors and screams for Buffy. Buffy runs upstairs to check on her mother and sister. They tell her about the demon, and she chases downstairs, where she finds Spike coming out of her basement. He asks her if she heard a noise, and she notices that he has been stealing pictures of her. When the demon attacks, Boris uses a chance to berate him. Together, they fight off the demon, and Buffy ultimately kills it with a knife while wrestling it on the floor. Spike moves over and offers his hand to help her up. He pulls her up to her feet, and their hands remain connected as Riley bursts the door with the soldiers. Spike informed Riley that he missed quite a show, making sure that Riley understood that Spike had been there to help. Back at the hospital, Ben gets to his car to find that Drake is waiting in the back seat. Ben reveals that he is the one who summoned the Queller, intending to handle the town's expecting mentally ill population, which he describes as having to clean up Glory's mess, which he complains he has had to do for his entire life. In her hospital bed, Joyce reveals the truth about Dawn's brief experience with insanity, which Buffy confirms for her. Joyce says that Dawn is nevertheless her daughter, and urges Buffy to take care of Dawn in case anything goes wrong during the operation. While her daughters and the rest of the Scoobies watch on, Joyce is wheeled off to surgery. So let's take a look at some continuity surrounding this episode. The mental patient talks to Dawn and is killed by the Queller demon, was a night watchman victim of Glory's energy absorption in the episode No Place Like Home. Ben knows about Glory and hints some sort of connection to her, which will be revealed in Blood Ties. Joyce learns about Dawn's true self only after Buffy and Giles. Dawn and the rest of the Scoobies will find out about it in Blood Ties. And Forever, Buffy will mention that Joyce discussed about her funeral arrangements before her surgery. When caught stealing, Spike remarks that he can't work the counter at Burger Barn. Buffy will begin to work at the counter at a burger restaurant in Double Meat Palace. Alright, and so now finally, let's take a look at some goofs from this episode. Will refers to the Tunguska blasts of 1917. In fact, that event occurred in 1908. When Dawn is talking about the origins of gelatin and when it's shot, she's shown to the left side of the screen and her mouth is not moving. When the gang is investigating the crash site, the camera is blurred over Anya's face as she speaks. When the gang leaves Riley in the woods and continues dialing the initiative, you can see someone in a long green coat, possibly Anya, standing on the left side of the camera. Riley's showing the initiative guys the crash site. As soon as he says, "It came out of that," 24 minutes and 19 seconds in, the Grimmer is visible standing to the left of the camera. They're there for the entire scene. Just before that, the shadow of the boom operator is clearly visible against a tree. So overall, I think this episode is kind of interesting, and yeah, again, things are not looking well for Joyce, so yeah. So overall, I give Listening into Fear 3 vampire steaks out of 5. Well, anyway, tune tomorrow as we take the next episode, Into the Woods. So, until then, here endeth the lesson.